Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the freshest of them all? Now that we got that settled, boy, I'm out for more. Out the ghetto, but I still keep it corner store. Ready for the world when I walk out the door. When I was younger, I wanted to be much older just to try.
I have a very long journey on how I came upon you, recommended by one of our family members. And so it was kind of like on itsahustle.com was the primary source for the beginning of everything that I currently know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Prior to that, there wasn't any basis for me to really like go and get it in different categories. You know what I mean? So that was the beginning of that whole thing. So it is definitely an honor and a pleasure, because before it was just a voice, you know, now it's a human being. So, you know, you're a live, real person. That's really good. You know, I don't see any genetically modified material. That's really a great thing. So we just wanted to ask a couple of questions, you know, like things that we had wondered about you prior to like meeting you. You know, when it's just a person behind a voice, you don't really know like that person. What was your eye opener as a child? Like when you were a child, what made you quest?
Well, the way I grew up, I was in a constant state of self-reflection. So I grew up, my father raised me since I was a baby. Well, technically, yes and no. So he raised me, him and my mother split up. And he raised me with his girlfriend at the time. They ended up splitting up. And I was raised by his girlfriend. He left me and my brothers with his girlfriend. She raised me. And throughout my entire life, while I was living with her, I had this perception of my father to be this horrible man who ran out on us and didn't care about us and hated our guts, and it helped me, it developed this level of hatred towards my own father. With that said, I grew up in an environment completely alien to my culture. You know, my parents are Dominican, they come from the Dominican Republic, we're Afro-Latino people, but I grew up around, you know, upper to middle class Jewish people, white people, and I was always the odd kid. You know, I was always, you know, the little black kid who was Debbie's son, like, you know, or, you know, whatever. And, you know, I used to go to synagogue and all this, and I would have kids make fun of me and call me like a phony Jew and crazy stuff. And like there would be like graffiti in the bathroom walls in the synagogue, and they blame me, and I'm like, I didn't even do nothing other than be black out here. You know, it was a so that kind of experience always put me in a state of self-reflection. Always put me in a state of like, who am I and in relation to my environment. You know? But with that said, as I got older and you get through your teenage rebellious phase, I ended up moving away from the woman who raised me and going to live with my biological mother. And while I was with my biological mother, she encouraged me to go actually hang out with my father. And in hanging out with my father, it kind of just opened up my world, because not only am I seeing this man who I've been taught to hate my entire life, and I see that he's completely the opposite of what I was told. Which made me it created the opinion in me that I lived a lie for the most part. My entire life was a lie because it was based on a false perception. It was based on a false narrative of this man who I'm connected with, and I was connected with him not only by blood, but personality, mannerisms, things that we are interested in, and he actually gave me kind of like the not necessarily the initiation, but kind of put me on to the quest for knowledge. He was a man who read thousands upon thousands of books, the Bible, the Quran, you know, Gnosticism, metaphysics, spirituality, Santeria, like all of these things were things that he was interested in, and we would discuss and spend hours upon hours talking about spirituality and ghosts and possibility of UFOs and like just, you know, and it expanded my mind. And keep in mind, I'm like 13, 14 years old, you know, and at the time I'm an artist or I'm trying to be a rapper, and words are important. So in order for me to come up with words to rap and try to put in my songs, I'm reading books. But I'm reading books for the express purpose of finding cool words to use in my lyrics, not thinking that the actual words and the actual history of what I'm reading is going to transform me. You know, so I'm reading all of this stuff on spirituality, mysticism, and I'm like, it's eye-opening,
Right.
you know, because then I'm having that kind of, that wake-up call kind of moment where you realize that the perception that you've had throughout your entire life is completely false.
Right.
Just like with what my mother was telling me about my dad, right? So I found a parallel between social consciousness and awakening and that of my real life.
Right.
And that kind of set the journey in motion of comparing my life to what's really going on all over the world. You know what I'm saying? It's not just me who's being given a false perception of reality.
Right.
You know? So that started
Then
the
you
quest.
began to want to
Exactly.
share that information.
Exactly. Through my lyrics, through artistry. I thought that's the easiest way, because it's real easy to be an ideologue and sit on the soapbox like we see most people actually down the block. You see everybody getting on the soapbox trying to preach the word of God, and it's real easy to get on that, but at the same time, it's not too appealing. It brushes people the wrong way. They don't like the truth being shoved down their throat. They barely like the truth to begin with.
Right.
Let alone shoved down their throat.
Right.
So I thought that music, especially at the time, because we're talking about early 90s, social conscious music was the popular craze. I'm thinking that, you know, I can convey these messages through music and people can relate to what it is that I'm talking about.
So do you think that you sharing, most people that you would find knew you from your music first? Because it would be the opposite for us, of course.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, for the most part, people know me through my music because that was my focus.
Right.
As a kid, that was my focus. I used to intern at record labels with the hopes of giving somebody a demo, right? And walking that path and trying to be in the music industry and going on tour with groups like Dead Prez and Killer Mike and other socially conscious hip hop, you know, artists. And you know, that was my foray into trying to deliver what it is, the message that I was trying to give to the people. But as I grew up, as I got older, went to college, started reading more books, getting more, you know, started studying socialism, started studying, you know, Islam and different things. It transformed me again. I was in a constant state of transformation. And I realized that it wasn't just about music. It wasn't just about lyrics. It was about walking this path and being a certain type of person and conveying a message. But on top of conveying a message, living that message, you know, organizing, inspiring others. So it became less about the music and more about social consciousness and activism. And I was very young, 19, 20 years old, trying to organize my friends and putting them onto information about the government and, you know, spirituality and what they're trying to do, and look at the social engineering programs and all of this stuff. And like, they're looking at me crazy, like, dude, like, I'm just trying to fuck bitches and clubs. Like,
on that day when you woke up and tried to log in to itsahustle.com
and it was shut down?
It was over.
It was bittersweet. It was like, well, not even bittersweet. It was just bitter, to be honest with you. Like,
maybe now it's sweet, but
well,
then,
it was bittersweet in the sense of this. It's like, it was an affirmation that I'm doing what I need to be doing because they shut me down.
okay.
You know, and I started seeing the signs of it because I started seeing people go on and start spamming and start doing a lot. I was seeing, you know, because it was a social network component to the website as well.
Right.
So I started seeing all these false profiles being created and people trying to be friends with me, and I don't really know who they are, what they're about, and it was being infiltrated with a lot of spam. I'm like, somebody's hacking into the system.
You know what's funny is on It's a Hustle, we didn't try to friend you or follow you, Facebook.
Oh, really? Yeah.
None of those things. We literally only went on there because remember, we didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so we're just going on there not to be your friend, not to even talk to you.
Right.
Just to learn whatever it is, all the work that you put, there's somebody literally there every day absorbing.
Yeah.
Like not worrying about what
crazy.
you do, who you are, nothing.
It was just about the information.
It was just about the information.
That's I take that as a compliment because that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
That was the idea. I didn't want it to be about me, the person, because it was about the information.
Right.
It's always been about the information because the information is what made me transition. You have your figureheads. You have people who you look up to and admire.
Right.
But for me, I was like, look at the information. Don't look at the person because the person's gonna be flawed by nature.
Now that it's like we know who you are, now it's like, dang, back then, like, you know, we didn't even care who the person was.
It was just about the information, just the website, And you know, but just as much as there were people online trying to grab the information, it was an everyday thing for me. to try to develop the information, try to explain or share my thoughts on it.
I didn't
Research
even
articles.
share. I didn't even go. I didn't ever click on your music.
Right.
I didn't never care what you said.
Right.
I just went on there
To get
like whoever this person is a genius because they have everything I need to know in every category.
Right,
You
it
know
was
what I mean?
multifaceted.
Right. So
that was the golden objective of the website, is to have that multifaceted approach, to have the spiritual aspect to it, to have the political and the
there was
social.
education, what they're doing to kids, what they're doing in the lower education, all the way up to the higher education. Transhumanism was the first. There's a video I seen on there that I still never seen before ever anywhere else.
Yeah, I remember the
And it was when they were talking about how, like on the subway, if you hold the pole, they can GPS you and find out where you are. If you hold the escalator when you're getting on the train, and then they show like people bumping you to try to get you to touch it.
Biometrics.
Yes, and I've never seen that anywhere else.
Yeah, it was,
ever.
you know, and I made a very big effort in Busho.
And of course, we are here with our children. These are our definite future. And I know I think that's
so my sons can have enough to eat. Cause you don't know stress till your child rubbing his stomach asking for food.
Hours upon hours. I mean, my wife, even though she thought I was going crazy.
Right.
You know, like I used to spend hours upon hours just researching articles and trying to find an approach to. It's all over the place. And that's how I got to a point where I was like, yo, it's everywhere. Everything that you're dealing with is some level of manipulation because it's by some external force that has an agenda that's trying to drive you in a certain direction.
Right.
And you can't just go down the spiritual road of it.
Right.
You know, because then you'll ignore the political. You can't just deal with the political and not adhere to the spiritual or the technological or whatever.
Right.
There's so many levels to this. There's a snake with so many heads that you just got to find out, like, okay, this is the angle on this end, this is the angle on this end. That's how we came up with the name, It's All a Hustle. I was on vacation with my family, and I'm talking to my brother-in-law about a lot of the stuff, the government and spirituality and what they're trying to do. And he goes, so it's all a hustle, huh? And I go, you know what? Yeah, it is. It is, because that was the way he, that's the way he was a street dude. So that's the way he understood it. You know what I'm saying? He's not from the same background. He's not meditating and doing prayers, and he's not about that. But he understands, like, oh, this is a scheme. This is what the government. This is a scheme. It's a hustle. That's it, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But we don't know what the hustle is. Once you understand what the hustle is on a grander scale, then you're like, oh, okay. How do I remove myself from the system? How do I not belong to this scheme? How do I not fall victim to it?
Very difficult.
And it's a very,
extremely difficult.
And that's where the whole unlearn thing comes, because you come to that conclusion that it is all a hustle. You come to the conclusion that there are agendas in place to cattle prod you into a certain way of thinking, a certain matter-of-fact lifestyle. And in order for you to remove yourself from that, not only do you have to remove yourself physically, but before you can do that physically, you have to remove the conditioning.
Right.
And we're talking about, I'm a 33-year-old man, so we're talking about, since I've been onto this knowledge, we're talking about years of conditioning.
Yeah.
Same way that my mother was conditioning me to believe that my father was an evil man. You have to unlearn years of that, you know what I'm saying? And habits that you've created in yourself. Desires, lust, and things that you want out of this world that they've told you here. This is what
you need that.
You gotta kind of
clothes,
all of that. Like, you gotta kind of reroute your whole thinking towards that. Like, yeah, I love money, but what is it worth if it costs me my integrity as a human being, and I can't leave a legacy for my children? It's of no point, right? So it's little things like that. So that's it. It was. It's like I said, a constant transition from one thing to another. You realize that it is all a hustle, and that's the catalyst.
I feel like I'm on a ceiling fan, hanging from my neck. I'm a slave to my debt and emotionally spent, having to make a choice between paying the groceries or rent. I'm a product of my choices and regrets. I make mistakes, I'm only flesh. The anger will make me a lonely mess, but all my fans still invested in the message of my records.
Wife and children and things like that. How difficult was it to find someone who was not necessarily at your level, but willing to understand your level enough to be able to raise a family together. You're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you're together.
yeah. I mean, it is.
I found it to be quite difficult. You know what I
course.
mean? So
course.
I mean, for you, I think that it would probably be.
Well, I mean,
For sure.
the blessing is that my wife and I found ourselves very young. I was
Okay.
21 when I met her.
Okay.
So at the time, I was still in the process of developing myself
Right.
and coming to conclusion in certain things.
Right.
But I knew who I was in the context of who I wanted to become.
Right.
And I think that that's what she liked or what appealed to her. And in her, I found the same desire for freedom, the same desire for some peace of mind
Right.
that I had. You know, something spiritual, something very deep that you can't see from the external. I mean,
Right.
the external is whatever it is, but there's something very deep inside a
Right.
person that you can connect with on a whole different level. And I think that that's what, for years, that's what we concentrated on. For years, that's what we focused on. That was our happy medium. And as I started dealing with these more higher level existential things, I mean, you know, we got together and out of sense of responsibility, and we had a child and all of that, you kind of go into this matter-of-fact lifestyle. I got to get money. I got to take care. I got to provide for my family. So you get the day job, you get the 9 to 5, you throw on the monkey suit.
Right.
You do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a good man, right? So we doing all of that. I'm making decent money. We going on trips, going on vacations, and all of that. And as much as I love it, and as much as my family enjoys it, there's still kind of something off with me. I feel something off. And it wasn't like years later. I mean, it was like Barack Obama came into office. You know, that heightened the social consciousness of everybody. Everybody's an activist now. Everybody want to write a freedom song, and everybody want to, you know what I'm saying? They want to be revolutionaries all of a sudden. And I see the wave of it. I'm like, you know, I want to be part of it. So I'm volunteering. Trying to do the good work in the context of being, you know, like what I call a yuppie. You know, young
Right.
professional. I'm just trying to make my money and still, you know, make my penance of having this money by doing socially conscious things. But then it hit me like a ton of bricks, I swear to God. Like I was feeling off, just something. And I was watching the movie Gandhi. I think my wife did. She may not remember. I'm watching the movie Gandhi, and I'm seeing the whole, you know, it's a 3-hour movie. I'm watching his protest and the things he's saying. And it's a movie. You don't really know whether he said these things,
Right,
but
right.
the portrayal of it, I swear to God, I'm watching the movie, and I just, out of nowhere, just break down in tears, crying, just hysterical. Like, why? Because I'm recognizing that I'm not living the life that I'm supposed to be living. I'm not adhering to the values that I had when I was younger. When I was that little kid writing rhymes about the government and reading these books, I'm not that person anymore.
Right.
And it scared the crap out of me. So I launched into this, doing more research and stuff, and then I was reading articles, and I was very pro Barack Obama. So anything against Barack Obama, I wasn't really. And I was watching this documentary that kind of tied in Barack Obama to a lot of the things I used to research as a kid, the Bilderberg Group,
Right.
different think tanks and secret societies and organizations, and then that just kind of gave a rebirth to my entire pursuit of knowledge.
Right.
And woke me the fuck up. And
I mean-
I'm looking around like, yo.
I would have to say, like, when we talk about, like, what was our eye opener, I would have to say that, like, Barack Obama was.
Yeah.
Because it was the first time that I ever watched MSNBC.
Yeah.
It was the first time I ever watched a town hall meeting. It was the first time I ever watched the State of the Union address.
Yeah.
I had never did that prior to that because I knew they weren't talking about me,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
But then now, because that woke me up, now I know they're still not talking about me.
Exactly.
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
They caught
right.
you. They threw a net. They caught a lot
Right.
of people. They caught
Yeah.
me. They caught a lot of us out
And
there.
I did a lot of the same things. I was in the newspaper. I went to Joe Biden rallies.
Yeah.
He came out to Tacoma.
Oh, okay.
I went there. I was in the newspaper. They interviewed me. I had buttons. I had shirts. I painted my
Stickers,
car. I
yeah.
had the signs. I had the stickers. My kids had it. You know, it was like
I was doing cold calling. I was doing all of that. Like, you know,
yes, I knocked on doors.
Exactly. You know, but I mean, you got to be grateful for the process. But
That's
then
what
in
I'm
the midst of
grateful
all that, then youths weren't paying off.
Right.
You know, he got elected, and then you starting to see like what the agendas, how the agenda's forming, and
Right.
you see that it's not of the interest of yourself or the people that you're concerned with, or the
Right.
people that you thought he was going to be concerned with,
Yes.
and then it kind of throws it off. And then you know, I'm watching, reading documentaries, and I'm still advocating for him, but then I see how it's part of a larger picture.
Right.
And in being involved in the political process, you lose sight, like I was saying earlier, you're losing sight of the other things that are going on.
Right.
How corporations are influencing this decision, how private think tanks cultivated and not necessarily trained, but what's the word? Groomed him to be selected rather than elected.
Right.
And that's when you open your mind to the whole way the game is played.
Right.
And then it no longer is about the front man. Right. And that's what he is. He's a political front man. He's propped up for people to put the blame on and to cast their hopes and dreams on him and to be disappointed.
He's the Speaker of the House to me. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? Because he's not Nancy Pelosi. He's the Speaker of the whole House. He tell whatever the master told you.
Exactly. He's
told
there
him to say. He's coming to tell you what that information is.
The president of the United States, regardless of who's in office, is there to sell the public on these ideas that are, for the most part, created and fashioned by corporations and banks that own this country. And they give you the illusion of democratic process. They give you the illusion of free and fair elections. How is it free and fair when money talks and bullshit runs the marathon?
You need money to
run
a campaign.
The average Barack Obama supporter in Compton, California don't got no money compared to, Lockheed Martin or any of these defense contractors who are giving the Obama administration millions upon
millions. My wife had a dream I was dead and woke up crying. My son almost died being born, so I'm focused on surviving. Loading up my iron, a product of my emotions and environment like a dragon, a fire spit. Living in the age of despair, trying my best to stay relaxed like pimp hair. Your crew is like an all-gal sweater, it's full of squares. Whoever is on the throne, get ready to switch your chair. Yeah, sound off like you got a pair. 2 balls and a bat and I knock the pussy out of here. Using my brain, I'm too free for jail. Getting money like a bank, I'm too big to fail. While they worried about the whales, the biggest endangered species is the young black male. Give them hell till we even. I'm in the booth like a domestic terrorist in a police precinct. Boom! I don't wanna be Trayvon Martin. I walk around with my hoodie and my gun stay sparking. In the hood we starving, hunger pain, young kids is killing for survival. Hunger Games. I don't wanna be Trayvon Martin.